La, 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 la. Hey, we're live, it says on the screen, and hopefully I've just got the email to say I've gone live. Thanks very much, YouTube, for telling me about going live. Welcome to the Sunday service. I know I'm like 6 minutes early. I'm really sorry, but I just thought I might as well get started. I'm sitting here waiting for you anyway, so I might as well get started doing it. It's a rather grey day in Ireland today. A little bit of patches of blue sky. But very little happening, actually, really, out there, weather-wise, other than it's just humid again. Welcome to everyone who's just joining. Thank you very much. I'll wait for some of the boys just to filter in. Some good news, some really good news. From next week, there's a website called buzz.ie, which is part of the Indo Group. It's a rather large website, a rather large, big website. It's kind of a website for lads. You know, there's a bit of lads about it. I'm going to be doing some reviews for there, particularly videos for buzz.ie. So you'll find me on that website, as well as, obviously, my home is right here on YouTube, as it always has been for the last, I don't know how long, 6, 7 years, something like that. It's really good. Hi Darren, how are you? It's good to see you. Look, 17 lads are already here. 19, it's flying up already. This is deadly. Don't forget to click that like button on the way in. Some of you will be new here. I get it. Particularly the last couple of videos, I've noticed, particularly the Alfa Romeo one, has attracted a pile of new subscribers. Some people are not very happy with me because I don't like their, well, it's not that I don't like their Alfa Romeo thing. It's that I complain about the Alfa Romeo. Hi Craig. And people, the Alfa Razzi don't like you complain about Alfa Romeos, no matter what is wrong with the Alfa Romeo. But you know what? My review stands. Nearly 10,000 people have watched that, and some of that has come from the fact that I now have a drone, which this is a Mavic Pro, sitting here in front of you, which is really cool and working. So the hugest, biggest, massivest thanks goes out to the subscriber and the people who got together to get this drone for me so I could do drone footage. A little group who got together and got this. It's about 1,500 quid's worth of drone. It ain't like this isn't to be sniffed at. It's a drone and the Fly More pack. So I have 3 batteries and controllers and bags and things, lots of stuff. I actually adapted my camera bag so it fit in there. Hello, Thingamajig. Hi, Brian. Don't forget to click that like button, guys, to get everybody notified as to this starting. We're only 2 minutes in. It would be very nice if everybody clicked the like button so we make sure that everybody gets a little notification to say it's actually happening. And if you're new here, subscribe. Click the subscribe button at the bottom. Don't forget that. It's very important to get lots of these. It'll get going. There will be lots of questions very soon. But the drone has added a kind of a new... it's a new camera. It's not really flying a drone. It's kind of like having a flying camera out there. Hi, John. Good to see you as well, right here. There's Jesper. Hi, Jesper. The drone has added this ability to have another camera. And like I have no problem. I'm very good at flying drones. I haven't crashed or done nothing stupid to it, so it's usually pretty handy to use. So far, it's been really good. I'm still practicing with it, so I'm getting there. Hi, Colin. Darren, what do you think of the Volvo XC60 CO2 being higher than outgoing model? They should not be trying to drop the CO2. Whoa, that'll be a tricky one, all right. We'll see what happens with CO2 over the next couple of years. CO2 is going to be changing. The way CO2 is measured is going to be changing, just so you know, so everybody is aware that this is happening. Very soon, they're not going to be, at the moment, right? So when you get a car right now, a brand new car is tested somewhere for CO2 emissions, and that's the blanket CO2 level for all the models of that car, no matter what it actually is. What's going to happen very soon when the EU bring in the law is that each individual car will be CO2 tested. Each single one will be CO2 tested. So once that happens, it'll absolutely totally change how each car CO2 level comes out. So the Volvo XC60 going up in CO2 is probably them preempting how that CO2 change is going to happen, and that's probably why. It's probably more realistic of what happens. Brian Cullen, what happens when the drone starts to get out of range? It never gets out of range, it stops. If it stops, if the signal is lost between the two, if the drone finds that the controller is no longer in range, or the controller finds the other way around, the drone stops and comes back to where you told it to start from. How much flying do you get from a single charge? About 20 minutes, 25 minutes from a single battery. But if it's really heavy wind like it was yesterday, well, not really, it's gusty yesterday, that reduces dramatically because the drone has to work harder to hold its position longer. So anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes of flying is what you get from a single charge on the drone. And the drone has a home point and will always come back to the home point if things go really badly wrong, unless you've crashed it. If you crash it, it won't try and do anything. Hi Bob, I just bought a sailboat and named it Boozing Bob. I like it. Well, if you want to. Boozing on the high seas, I suppose, is also pretty illegal as well. Is it worth the money upgrading my Passat with an active info display? What's an active info display? Everybody has different names, so you have to remember what is that option. The way I think of options, if it's going to work for you for 3 years, if you're going to have it and you're going to love that option for three years, then get it. Don't be convinced out of it by a dealership saying, oh, it's going to be worth nothing when you sell the car. The car's going to be worth nothing when you sell it anyway. You may as well forget about it. You lost your money when you bought a car to begin with. So what's the point in worrying how much you're going to be worth on the way out? If it's Bluetooth or sat nav or something like that, then yeah, go for it. But if it's an active display or something that's going to be really, color screen, not really, no. Don't forget to click that like button, guys. 27 people watching and only 15 likes. Why is that? God, is it so hard? Is it so much of an effort to click the little thumb thing that goes like? It's a digital speedometer instead of the old dials. Yeah, that's a nice option. Visually nice option. I wouldn't really say it's going to be a critically important option to have the digital dash. It's beautiful to look at. And probably upgradable because it's a software thing. Hi, William. It's a software thing. Thanks very much, Lee, for liking. So they could probably change the dial or give you options on the dials rather than the physical thing, which is not really upgradable. But like I say, if you like the option, if you think the option is something that you are going to enjoy for the next 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, then definitely order it. Don't be talked out of by a dealership. Generally speaking, and I'm sorry if there's any car dealers watching, I always give away some sort of car dealer secret thing as it is, right? Generally, dealers want to sell you what they have in stock, right? And that is the easy way of saying that dealers have pre-ordered a certain amount of cars that they know will sell. I'm not talking about just Volkswagen, I'm talking about every car dealership does this, right? So it's not just Volkswagen, because we're talking about a Passat here. But so what they do is they order a certain amount of every car. So if they were ordering a Corolla, they'll order a certain amount of saloon ones with this kind of option, that kind of option, that kind of wheels, and in that colour. And then that's the one they want to sell to you because that's the one they have in stock in Dublin or the one they have in stock in their dealership. You come in, you want a digital dash, which they don't have in stock, means they have to order from the company directly, which is a little bit more expensive for them and just time wasting, just means they don't get money in the kitty immediately. Brian Cullen, by the way, Bob, I still have my Nissan Note front wheel rattle, mainly because I've done nothing about it yet. Well, that would explain that. Thanks for all the advice last week, and with that, I hope we'll do it this week. Did you wash it, Brian? That's the main advice I gave you yesterday, last week, I think, was to wash that front wheel area to see if the squeak goes away. Because I have squeaks in that Alfa Romeo out there. And I mean, every time I go over a speed bump, the suspension squeaks. Weird. You prefer infotainment screens incorporated into the dash or tablet style ones like most new cars? I'm afraid tablets is the only way it's going to be from now on. Tesla have set that trend. And self-driving cars, because the tablet then gives a different system. What I prefer is the commonly touched controls should be physical ones. And I'm talking about heating systems particularly. So hot and cold and, faster and slow, even auto buttons and all that sort of stuff, all that air conditioning system should all be physical knobs or wheels or dials or buttons or whatever, not on a touchscreen, because you touch them quite regularly because you're always messing with them or playing with them. If they're in a touchscreen like Peugeot have done, as a few car companies tried to do it now recently, I give out about every single one of them pretty much equally because you have no haptic feedback when you touch a screen. It's like touching the screen on your phone. You have to look at it to touch it. And if you have to look at it, it means you're not looking out the front window, which means you're distracted from the business of driving. So anything that stops me looking away from the front window is a no. But physical buttons means I glance to see where it is, I put my hand on it and I can turn it then without looking. So simple as that. Best estate or ST under 25 grand. Brand under 25 grand is going to be difficult for brand new. An estate tends to be 3 or 4 grand more expensive than a saloon, and most saloons are in around 25 grand to begin with. So the best estate I the one I recommend to everybody, the one I really like, there you go, Octavia Estate is the one I like. Buy it in the kind of RS look. There's an electric blue one. I think it has 18-inch wheels on it. If you can get DSG, great. If you can't, it doesn't really matter. Get the electric tailgate for pure kudos of just being able to walk up and go click and it opens on its own. Brilliant car, Octavia Estate in all years. Eyes on the road is absolutely true, William. You've got to keep your eyes on the road. Bob, looking at buying a Honda Civic SI 1.6 D-Tech. What's your opinion of this car? I have no problem with Honda Civics. I think they're a great car. And that engine is bulletproof. Anything Honda is pretty much bulletproof. It will go forever and shouldn't give you any trouble whatsoever. The newest Honda Civic wouldn't be my cup of tea. It's a funny looking design. There's a 1.5 litre petrol engine that is dire. It's real slubberly. It's a slow thing. The 1 litre petrol engine is absolutely brilliant, peachy engine on the new one. But the 1.6 older one's very good. Renault Megane Estate is okay, yeah, but they're a little bit boring to drive. Hi Bob, love your reviews. Just wondering if you could review Irish spec Hyundai Iconic anytime soon. Thanks. Sean, I have emailed Hyundai twice now, Hyundai Ireland, and I have not received a response from them. Asked them where the Hyundai Ioniq is and can I have one. They haven't answered my emails, not a single one. So whether they're on holidays or just they're not talking to me anymore, I don't know. But I'll email them again in retrospect of that. Hi Bob, have you had fun in the Julia during the week? Light review. It has been fun. It is a lovely car. The diesel engine doesn't suit us. Petrol engine would be much nicer. It is a really nice car, but it's missing the little things like shopping bag hooks, like I don't know. It's just it hasn't quite got there. I think Alpha should stick to the kind of sporty thing. I know what they're after. I get it. They're after a little bit of the BMW 3 Series line, the Audi A4, Mercedes C-Class. They're trying to get into that position. And if you're sick of the German stuff, I can see that you would probably look at that Italian car out there. But, oh, it just ever so slightly misses the mark. But it's one of the coolest, most beautiful cars that is on the market today, right now. Darren, thanks Bob. Have any of your subscribers commented on electric problems with Skoda Octavias? Reversing camera infotainment system found it is a problem out there. Best out there being kept quiet. I have not had anyone complaining about Skoda Octavia anything. No, none. I had none. Now that doesn't mean it's not happening. I'm not saying that there's nothing happening out there. If you're reading a lot about it on the internet, it might be, but at the moment, I don't see any problem with Skoda Octavias. I would highly recommend Skoda Octavia. I'm actually in a 2 litre TFSI Skoda Superb on Monday. Bob, have you done a review on the Mazda 6 estate? If so, it's better than the Germans for wow factor. No, it's not. It is and it isn't. The Japanese car will attract a lot of attention. You'll be probably very happy with it, to be honest with you. But the problem is that they're very sporty and it feels quite solid on the road. That's good if you like sporty. If you just want to drive home on a motorway, they're quite noisy in the cabin and it's a lot going on. You get a lot of options in a Mazda for pretty basic money though. That's one good thing I have to say. Bob, I have a grumble about CarZone, another car website. Some advertisers build in a scrappage discount into the headline price of say €2,000 plus only small print that tell you that. I don't really understand that, Brian. About CarZone and other car websites, some advertisers build in a scrappage discount into the headline price. Okay, so they say that the car is 20 grand, it said, or giving you 2 grand off is 18 grand, but it was 22 grand to begin with or whatever. Yeah, well, you just got to learn your prices. That's really what it comes down to. There is a price monopoly in Ireland. Nobody ever wants me to say that word, monopoly. But realistically, it's pretty much a monopoly. Prices are set in Germany. They're set before they ever leave the factory as to how much cars are going to be in each district. This is the cost price, this is how much margin they make, and so on and so on and so on. And then you have the second-hand car prices being manipulated by certain people who publish books about it. And the research on how much things actually get sold for, and you have dealerships that all meet up once a year under the guise of the SIMI and all talk to one another. So there is, of course, a certain amount of, but that happens in every industry. It happens in the grocery industry as well as just as much. It happens as much in every single industry in Ireland is out there. So the price is the price. If you can get a better price, great. If you can't, well, there's very little most people can do about it. Don't forget to click that like button, people. 47 people watching and 27 likes. My God, what's wrong with you? And click subscribe if it's your first time here. This happens pretty much every Sunday. And next Sunday is going to be, is next Sunday where I'm supposed to be? I think next Sunday I'm supposed to be in Kirkstown, I think, for the Mazda Rotary Club Day. And I'm going to be doing a lap of the track in a very fast Mazda. So that's next Sunday, and I'll try and go live from that. I'll certainly bring drone footage from that, but I'll try and go live from there as well while I'm there. Click the like button, go for it. Thanks, Bob. Have a VRS and a great car for these entertainment. There's no, we have a VRS and it's a great car, bar these infotainment issues. So, is it the screen when your reversing camera is not working? Is that what it is? Something like that. Let me know what it is. Email me, Darren, and I'll see if anyone in Skoda can help you. Hello from Greece. Hello, Greece. How is Greece doing these days? Brian, apparently against car zone policy, and car zone change it if they are notified. I've told them a couple of times. Of what? Advertising discount? A discount or something? Okay, yeah, okay. So car dealerships put up a used car for $2,000 off its marked price or whatever. That's just, it's misleading, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. Take your money and go elsewhere is the best way. Being honest with you, car zone, anything listed on car zone is pretty expensive. Well, that's what I think. Great listings because they have a lot of dealerships attached to them. But the prices tend to be quite high there. Second-hand cars, done deal if you know what you're doing. Now, right, don't think these are not dealers. They're mostly private sales on done deal. But if you know what you're doing, done deal is actually quite good. Cars Ireland is very good. Great listings in that as well. The price tends to be a little bit better there as well. So, yeah, no problem with those kind of things. But, you know, the best thing of all is to buy, if you're going to buy used and you know anything about cars at all, then go buy used from an individual. You'll be fine. Hi Bob, good morning, great show, thanks for your advice. Had to change my CVT transmission on my Nissan Note. Oh God, you have to do something to a Nissan? Aren't they bulletproof? CVT, I've never heard of CVT giving any trouble because it's constant variable transmission. It's a pretty straightforward thing, which is why Toyota put it in as well. It's a very straightforward kit and equipment, but hopefully it turned out nicely for you, Jason. The best built non-premium cars are maybe Volkswagen, but do you think there are other brands as good as them but without emissions and unreliability issues? Thanks. Best built non-premium. I wouldn't say there is one particular one out there that hangs in the air they're very, very good non-premium cars. It used to stand that the German cars gave trouble when they got old. Japanese cars continued working forever and never give any trouble. And Italian cars were broke down coming out of factories. That used to be the way. And French cars were not put together at all and would break down after a few years. These days, it's fairly level pegging on things, but you can still be fairly guaranteed that Honda and Suzuki and Toyota will be the easily reliable ones. They're the ones that probably won't give any trouble, particularly in petrol engine. But the modern day stuff, like I've had no trouble from anything from Volkswagen. I mean, no one's emailing me going every Volkswagen I get is broke down around. So I don't think there's any one particular brand out there that's going to be unreliable over the other. It depends on how they're treated. If you treat a car well, it lasts forever. My Seat Leon's 11 years old, still goes every single day, and I treat it like crap. Hi Bob, I have a Hyundai i40 Premier that I bought in England. The fuel economy is amazing. What is a diesel? What's a Premier? Is that a spec model Premier? That's a really bad name. Anyway, is the 280 superb you're going to be driving? Yes, it is. Would love one as a real sleeper car. It's not a sleeper. This thing is absolutely lime green. You've probably seen it in a couple of other reviews at this stage. It's hanging about there for a while, but I just haven't had time to drive it. Also coming next week is the Peugeot 3008. 3008? No, 3008 I think they call it. But yeah, and I'm also doing the 2002 Skoda Octavia. We're filming that on Tuesday. Bob, what do you think of the new CHR from Toyota? If I can ever remember that name, I'd tell you it's a brilliant car, but CHR never seems to stick in my mind. Brilliant car. Go for the 1.8 litre hybrid version. Absolutely gorgeous thing. If you can't, 1.2 did me fine. I did nearly 60 miles to the gallon in a 1.2 litre petrol version of it. Really good, darn. Done deal, but use the filters because you'll get all sorts of scrap if you don't. I tend to look through everything. You go down a done deal hole, and it's like a rabbit warren. You end up clicking around into all sorts of parts of the thing. It's a shame they don't do some sort of independent car review things at Dundee. By the way, if you're from Dundee, just give me a phone call on that one. I'll hook you up, baby. But besides that, it's one of those sites you just spend time on, clicking around until you get the hang of it. But if you don't know about cars, there's a lot of private sale on Dundee. And if you don't know a lot about cars, it can be an awful difficult place to get the hang of. That's why Cars Don't Win, because it's much easier little sliders and things, and Cars Ireland, and there's a good few others out there right now. Loads of them are angling for your business, and I'm sure they're all at it at the moment. Nissan Note is bulletproof. I have one, apart from my little rattle when it's 11 years old. Nissan used to put in timing chains and everything. I don't know if they still do or not. I think they still do, but they put timing chains and everything, so they're actually quite easy to manage. If this is your first time here, click the subscribe button. Even if this is your first time here, click the like button. It's all good, you know, it's all good. If you wish to donate money or donate whatever you want, you can do it two ways in this channel. One is you can head over to PayPal and you can put in bobflav@thenextgear.com and send a single one-off donation there. Or you can go over to Patreon, whatever it's called, patreon.com/thenextgear, and you can give a very tiny, like €1 a month donation towards keeping this channel free. Have you driven a new Insignia? Thought in less month. I have not driven a new Insignia. I booked it in. I was talking to the lovely lady from Opel, Ireland, and so I'm booked in to drive one. So I will be driving one in the very near future when it's launched. Looks good though, doesn't it? It really does. I have a liking for the Astra. I quite like the look of the Astra, and the Corsa. Funny enough, Opel have done pretty good work on their range recently, although they are being bought out by Peugeot. I don't know how that's going to last. PSA, I mean Peugeot Group. Good few concurrent people looking at it now. Click that like button, don't forget. Is OnStar any use? I don't think any of those systems are really any use in Ireland. I'll be honest with you, Brian. I've used the BMW one, I've used the Audi one, I've used the Opel one. On the international launch of there's actually a video on my channel of, was it the Astra? I can't remember if it was the Astra or the Insignia. We went to Germany, where they were just launching OnStar for the very first time, and we turned on our video cameras, going to record this thing, telling us we're supposed to press the button and we're set the sat nav to go. Anyway, it didn't work at all, and it's all in video. We just put the video out. I don't think Opel are very happy about putting out the video, but we did. It didn't work. Now I'm sure it works now, and I've used it here in Ireland on the BMW system and on the Opel system. You press a button, you go, can you find me the nearest restaurant that does Lebanese food or something? And away she goes. She'll find it, and it's very good. But I have to admit, I wouldn't be bothered with using it at all, because it's Ireland, for God's sake. Like, you know where everything is at this stage. But, you know, it comes free for the first year. I think there's a subscription after the second year. You could always drop it. Try it for a year. If you don't use it, get rid of it. Would you choose to buy a VW Arteon instead of an Audi A5, or both costed roughly the same amount of money? A5 or Arteon. I haven't driven the Arteon. I would Arteon, or whatever it's called. I would imagine the Audi A5 drives a little bit better, just because Audi would never allow Volkswagen to create a car that drives better than their Audi version. I don't think so. I would imagine the Audi A5, which it does drive an incredibly well put together car. The Arteon's nice. I've seen it physically. There's a video of it there on my channel, and I'll be driving it soon. The actual launch is here in Ireland very shortly. So they look nice, but I'd probably go for the Audi A5, given if they were around the same money. What are your thoughts on the Octavia Estate? I've already gone through that. Really, really nice. I like Octavia in all its versions. Pulsar, design not the best, related to a good solid car. It's a solid car. It's nice inside. You get plenty of room in it. It's a big car. But the exterior styling is a bit meh. Hi Bob, thanks for your thoughts on the Skoda VRS issues. It's reversing camera, radio screen failing. Dealer had to take it back for software update already. Black screen due to go back again now. Thanks. Well, if the dealer's dealing with it, Darren, not much to complain about, I suppose. I only get really involved, or people only email me when they've got no options left and they go, Bob, I've tried everything and I can't get this sorted. So that's why probably I'm not hearing about anything. But if the dealer's sorting it, then there's no need to escalate right now. If you run into problems later on and the dealer just throws their hat at you and goes, I can't fix it anymore, or I'm going to charge you tons of money, or whatever it is, then come back to me and talk to me about it then. But at the moment, there's no point in starting to stir the muck elsewhere for you, unless the dealer stop dealing with you instead. Rusty Bunt, that's a great username, Rusty Bunt. Bob, I love your videos. What do you think of the Lexus 1.8 litre CT200 hybrid? Thanks, Rory. I wouldn't go near. Lexus makes some really nice cars from time to time. They're one of those companies that make a really good car and then they kind of go, but I don't really like them. The CT200H from me, I haven't tested in a couple of years. Generation 1 I tested and I didn't like it at all. But since then they've had the IS has come out, which was really, really nice. Maybe they've updated the CT200, but they don't seem to have done much with it here. I wouldn't think it would be my kind of car. I'd prefer to go Prius in the Toyota range. Things we want to go Lexus, I'd go the IS range. Any ideas to be getting the Civic Type R, Bob? It's not even out in Ireland. Let me warn you, any review you have seen of a Honda Civic Type R on any UK channel was done in 10 or 15 minutes on a racetrack. Bear that in mind when you're thinking about the hype and all the crap that goes with it, and all the guys going, it's the best car in the world. They've driven it for maybe 10 or 15 minutes on a racetrack, right? So it's really easy to get involved in all that sort of stuff. Look, if you want to see some of the bigger ones, go to some of the bigger channels like What Car, whatever. Those guys will have pulled the thing apart. Maybe not What Car, maybe Auto Express or someone. Go to one of their channels, have a look at that stuff. They will have gotten a better run at it, and they will be one of the first in the country with the car. Don't believe any of the smaller channels that are out there going, it's the best car I've ever driven. On a racetrack, all cars can be done. I've driven cars on a racetrack that have been tuned for the day to be on that racetrack. So a guy sat back and they tuned it and tuned it and tuned it, so it's going to be the best drive of your life. The car that actually comes out in the end is a different story. So until I drive it here in Ireland, I don't think we'll be touching it until next year, more than likely, or late this year, very late. Then Honda might not be talking because they didn't like their Civic, standard Civic. Auto One haven't, thanks for advice, much appreciated. No problem, Darren. Your thoughts on the Volvo V40? V40 is out a while, probably due a facelift at this stage. Not a bad car. I would prefer to see an estate like the V50. Remember the V50 one? That was a really good car, but it's gone now. It's all V40 now. They're not a bad car. Good engines. Again, Volvo tend to make really good, solid, honest, reliable, safe cars, but they are ultimately boring. Unless you're looking at Polestar ones, then you're suicidal. But they're nice cars. I don't have a problem with Volvo V40 or any Volvo for that matter. Just the error on the side of boring. That new Civic does fake black plastic vents in the front. Black look ridiculous, trying to look like a €500,000 supercar fail. Yeah, kind of. I don't know what they were trying to go for. I don't think they were going to try to go for the UK market anyway in the first place. I don't know. I don't know what Honda was at, to be honest with you. Have I missed the Alpha report yet? No, there's a video, George. Look at the video yesterday. There's the full report on the Alpha, a full review of that. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know, like 7,000 people have watched it at this stage, so you're late to the party anyway. What's the prettiest new car in my opinion? It's sitting outside the door. The Alfa Romeo Giulia is one of the prettiest new car on the road you can have today. Although it's a year old now, nearly. Car Wow review the Civic Type R video is on their site. Matt Watson, I'm sure that'll be pretty straight up and down. And I know Matt, he seems to be a nice guy. Hi Bob, I'm going to take the... Can I just remind you as well that Car Wow they're pretty good, but they also sell cars. So anywhere that sells cars, that they review cars and sell cars, can't always be 100% down the line. I don't sell cars, so I don't care if nobody buys a car. That's up to you. I just give you the report. So anywhere that actually sells cars, that does a report for cars, it can be a little bit tricky. Hi Bob, I'm going to take the plunge next year and purchase an all-electric car. Well done, good choice. I have looked at Hyundai Ioniq, very impressive. What's your opinion on this EV? Thanks, Brendan. I have a problem at the moment, Brendan. I have emailed Hyundai Ireland on a couple of occasions to get a drive of the Ioniq, and they haven't answered me. So it's not like they've said no or anything; they just haven't answered me. So I'm not too sure what's happening there. But I'll continue emailing them. I've seen it in dealerships. As you may have known, I've driven the Tucson from a dealership in Tullamore. While I was there, I had a look at the Ioniq. It seems pretty good. There's plenty of choice in the electric market at the moment. I would suggest you should go and look at the Golf Electric. You know, the Volkswagen Golf Electric? That's worth a look. That's quite a good little car, and it's just a Golf. It's still a Golf, like. but it's electric, and I quite like that. Nissan Leaf is definitely one. Don't ignore the Nissan Leaf. It's a really good car. It has been a really good car since it came out. It still is. I still don't have a problem with Nissan Leaf. So there's plenty of competition in that market, and there's more competition on the way as well. Everyone's going to be going electric at some point in the near future. Wizard Dawn. Thank you, Brendan, for your question. Honda might not be talking to anyone, nor anyone talking to Honda after the F1 and motorbike engine issue this year. I'm not surprised. Poor old Honda, they've forked over money left, right and centre to get into the F1 thing and made a balls of it. Thanks, Bob. So the missus didn't like the look of it either, so the Hyundai i40 is. Yeah, Hyundai i40 is a nicer car entirely. George, I've seen the video already. Well, then you haven't missed anything in Alpha Julia. It's gorgeous and still not quite right. CarWow, not 100% trusted. Matt Watson, decent enough, though they are very commercial. That's the problem, Brian. I'd be the same. I love their videos. I get on well with Matt, and I get on well with that group. We've never really crossed swords, so we're okay with that. And I've met Matt on a couple of occasions, and he seems very nice and very honest. And their videos seem very, very straight up and down. I don't really have a problem with it, but I always have this deep suspicion in my mind when I see cars being reviewed by a site that does sell cars. So, you know, you look at Auto Express. I think it's Auto Express. Don't they sell cars as well? And they seem to be straight up and down about their videos, but yet and reports. But yet you still have to kind of wonder in the background of your head, are they being absolutely 100%, or can you buy that review at the top? Did you get the drive of the Kia Niro hybrid? I did, Jim. Very good car. Kia Niro is an incredibly good car. Really honest and straight up and down. Just a sort of it's like a crossover, but not quite big enough to be a crossover. It's quite nice. Plug-in hybrid. I will have another. I have the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid booked in for a test drive soon, so I'll be testing on that as plug-in hybrid goes. Anything that allows you to run for as long as you possibly can on electric is always what you want to do. George Falls, I sent you a text on Facebook. I told you to come up here to Portlaoise anytime the car sitting outside the door. You could come and drive it and have a spin in it whenever you like. But check if you want to. Okay, it's going back tomorrow. There's nothing I can do about it now. But I did send you a message on Facebook days ago if you want to come up. I have not got out of this county for the last few days. Been testing this thing. Little what's it called? Mavic. A Mavic Pro thing that I've been driving. You should be reading your Facebook post, George. You said, I have so many incoming messages coming from everywhere that it's very hard to go up with them all. Was it a good idea to swap our Volvo S80 for Skoda Octavia Estate? You've already done it. Do you need me to confirm that it was a good idea? The S80, yeah, Volvo Estate will be very good. I mean, it's an estate car, so it's going to be nice. And the S80 was a saloon car, so that's always going to be a benefit to get more room. So, I don't know, depends on what way you're looking at. If it's for money, then it's all right. Bob, are there major plans afoot to upgrade our nationwide charging system? One would think there should be given to the end of diesel and petrol is nigh. There are no major updates coming. There'll be some updates coming as more cars hit the road and the network works out. Actually, we're probably the best positioned electric network in Europe. Currently, if you want, in France, for instance, right? In France, it's an open market. So if you want to get a charge of an electric car, you have to find the electric charge point that matches your card. So take, for instance, if you were with ESB here and not Airtricity, right? You would go to a charge point and it could be an Airtricity one, which you can't use because your car doesn't work there. You need a car that suits Airtricity. So that's France, and even chunks of Germany is like that as well. So driving across Europe in an electric car is a bloody nightmare at the moment. You need 5 or 6 cards with you just to get all the charge points to work. Whereas in Ireland, we have one card and it does all of them. Currently, that is free. Currently, you can charge on the street for nothing. So you just use the card, open the port, plug it into your car, and you get free fuel on the street. That's currently. And no matter what the EV owners network tells you in the whole world, that will definitely change. Because this is Ireland. And there's no way in Ireland they're going to let you charge and get electric cars driving on the road for free forever. So eventually there will be a charge. But right now it's free. So if you bought an electric car right now, this minute, you can have free fuel. What do you drive yourself, Bob? Is any other than Leon? No, our own cars at the door still say Leon. Although if I was changing cars right now, I would probably change to a Nissan Leaf or a Golf electric or electric car of some sort. Going to get a 4-seat drop top. What would you pick? Thinking A3. Good choice, Darren. Audi A3 is probably the nicest. You know what's really nice? I don't know if it still exists though. It might be gone. Do you remember the Golf? What was the Golf called? EOS. EOS or something it was called? The electric metal roof. It was really good, but don't buy Generation 1. It leaked like a lunatic, but it was really nice. I can't, good man. You're barred. There's always one of you lads hanging around. It's weird how often I see, you put time and effort, 35 minutes into explaining whatever it is you want to explain on the internet, and everybody can talk to you on the internet. Everybody asks questions, and someone comes on and asks the dumbest question in the world. Well, yeah, the EOS, very few around, but yes, it leaked like a lunatic, Generation 1, but Generation 2 was actually really nice, very low breeze inside. But currently Audi does probably the best of the... I have an Audi A5 Cabriolet coming as well on the fleet. Can you buy supercars in Ireland? Wherever I go there, I never see any, but I travel up and down. There's hundreds of supercars in Ireland, but very few of them actually hit the road. Mainly because it's very expensive here to insure them. To tax them is very expensive. To buy fuel for them is very expensive. So that's 1, 2, 3 good reasons right there. There are no supercar dealers in the Republic of Ireland. I mean, exclusively. There's ones that will find you cars and get you cars, and a few of them. But there's no I don't know, Lamborghini dealer here or Bentley dealer. They're in the north. There's Charles Hurst in the north. They do some Bentley stuff and a few other brands, but I don't know what they are. But in the Republic of Ireland, there are plenty of supercars. I have driven plenty of supercars in this country that I can't talk about, not from manufacturers, from owners. So there's plenty of them about, but they're going to be pretty hard to find. If this is your first time here, click the subscribe button, will you? If you're already subscribed, click the like button. What can be done to sell more EV cars? Only 1% now. The simple fact is, if you want to sell more EV cars, you need to make me the Minister for Transport. Failing that, you need to, first of all, give benefits. So how about scrapping tax for the first 3 years of ownership of an EV car, motor tax? You watch how many people change over to electric cars when that happens. 2, bus lanes. You can use them for free like taxis do. Parking. If you park a car, you not only charge the car for free, but you can park for free. How about that as well? There you go. There's 3 suggestions that would instantly up the sales of electric cars. Because look at Sweden. That's exactly what they are. Not Sweden. Norway. Is it Norway or Sweden that have a lot of electric cars sold? That's how they did it there. There is a market for supercars, Brian, in this country. A certain small market for supercars. But we don't have the massive rich levels that there is in the UK. I mean, we have 4.5 million people living in Ireland, right? On this part of Ireland. There is nearly 70 million people living in the UK. So there's a lot more rich people there. I have a supercar, don't I, Bob? Yes, you do, George. I know what you have. An Alpha 1 something or other, 159, 149, something like that. Audi A3 1.4 TFSI is a good engine. 1.4 TFSI in every version of the Volkswagen Group cars is the best engine on the market at the moment that you can buy in a petrol one. I know there's a lot of engine awards going on. I know Peugeot's won the smaller engine. I think it's their 1 litre engine has won engine of the year this year. But I also know there's lots of other people, 156 in the GT, of course. I know a lot of other people have won engine of the year this year as well. But definitely 1.4 TFSI is a really, really nice car. Or really, really nice engine, should I say. Andy's Motormart reminds me, Norway has a high proportion of electric cars on the roads. The sun is coming out and going in. It's blowing out that complete side of my face there for some reason. I have several supercars. They're all dinky stamped on them. I'm not surprised. I've had millions of those over the years as well. Are DPFs a ticking time bomb in a 2011 Ford Focus diesel, even though the car has been maintained and very good standard throughout its life? First of all, just to explain to everybody, a DPF is what's called a diesel particulate filter. So when you start a diesel car, there's a certain amount of soot that goes down into the exhaust system. The DPF is designed to catch that soot. And then the DPF heats up when the car gets very hot. So you go on a motorway, it gets very hot, and the DPF burns that soot again, making it less and less and less CO2 until eventually it comes out the back end of the car in a different version. if the car never gets hot enough, so if the car never gets out on the motorway, that DPF never burns that soot till eventually the DPF is completely clogged and full of soot. Then you get a light on your dashboard, you go to the dealership, you give them €1,500 thereabouts, and they put a new DPF on the system, and away you go again. So ticking time bomb, very possibly. But if you do proper maintenance on a DPF, so if you properly go out onto the motorway once a month and you redden it, you drive far enough that the car gets good and hot and gets nice and burnt, then you won't have any problem with DPF, seemingly. But not really a ticking time bomb, just like you said, it's well maintained, so it shouldn't be a big problem, Colin. But 2011 Ford Focus diesel, really good car, really nice car that actually. If it survived in 2011 with the original DPF, it shouldn't be a problem, no. I would love an EV car. I love the idea, but I usually spend 10k on a car, and I think it's a perfectly good and fun second-hand car. It'll be a good few years until the newer high-range EVs are 10k. I don't know if it will be that long. We're starting to see quite an uptake in electric cars this year. If that continues into next year and the government properly supports the uptake of EV cars, which they're not bothering with at the moment, if they properly support it, we'll get a lot more EVs on the road. And if we get a lot more EVs on the road, then we get a lot more second-hand EVs, and away we go. George Falls, by the way, has an Alpha 156 and a GT. GT is gorgeous. That's one of the most beautiful cars ever built in the history of time, apart from the 158. Bmw i8 around me actually used. Yeah, there's plenty of Bmw i8 sold, in fairness to them. They were about 100, 120 grand. I have a couple of mates of mine own them as well. So there's a good few around. Hopefully later on in the year I'll have one on test as well, but I'm not too sure. Sorry, it's over 100,000 miles on the clock now. Oh, that's the Ford Focus. Over 100,000 miles. That's a lot of miles for any car. Forget about DPF even. That's just a lot of miles for any car. If it's well looked after, it should be fine. If not, you're going to have to fork out €1,000 to €1,500, or do what I see other people doing, which is disconnect the DPF entirely. I do not advise this in any way, shape or form, but you can take the DPF out from the exhaust system and connect it up without a DPF entirely. You'll have to do some electrical connections as well, but it is possible to get rid of them entirely. Just thought I'd tell you that. Not that I'm advising you to do it, Colin, but anyway. Any more Tesla reviews to come, like the Model X? Tesla, no. Tesla in Ireland. Tesla are very weird. They're not really officially in Ireland, and yet they are in Ireland. They're funny when it comes to the marketing things as well. Like I asked Tesla directly, how many Teslas have been sold in Ireland? And the exact quote I can give you from the lady from Tesla, she says, "We don't talk about numbers." And I went, okay, so how many cars are you going to import into Ireland this year? We don't talk about numbers. How many staff does Tesla employ? Same answer. We don't talk about numbers. Okay, so Tesla is a really closed group. They tell you what's going to happen, and I've emailed them a few times with some suggestions of what I could do in a Tesla car as a test from here, and I've yet to get approval for any one of them. So it's pretty hard to get approval to them. Have you reviewed any diesel hybrid around the new Zoe? I have the Peugeot 3008 Hybrid 4 was a diesel hybrid that they had. I don't know if they still do it. I'm sure they do. New 3008. There is a review on my channel of that. New Zoe I have not booked in. I don't see it on the press plate yet, but I'll see if I can book one in soon. It's going to be a Zoe, still just Zoe, you know, until they get rid of the leasing. I know it's gone now, but until they scrap it entirely, I don't think Renault will ever get that kind of kick forward. When you're up with Mazda, would you get to see the review of the MX-5? New one looks interesting, the 1.5 one. MX-5 is always interesting in all its guises, in all its years. It's always going to be good. Nicest one is the one that has the, I think it was Generation 2. Not the one with the flip-up lights, the one after that. That was good. I did hear that even when a well-maintained one, they might have to be replaced, say, at 100,000 miles. DPF, that is. Very possibly, Brian, they can give trouble. I'm not saying they won't give trouble, but DPF is not something, if something requires maintenance, longevity, it's still going to require maintenance. So it doesn't matter how long it's in. If it's never been tested or never been changed, it's probably going to need changed at some point. Have you tested a new Micra yet? What's your thoughts on a big improvement? I love the look of the new Micra. I've had a spin in it, not an official spin, but I've had a spin in the Micra, and it's really good. Totally different. Like, it actually made the Micra desirable, which is a strange thing to do, but they have done it. Which is really interesting. I'm really happy to see that with Nissan going forward. once I get a little bit of time on the press fleet, I'll try and book in a Micra and get that done as well. Just at the moment, it's just chaos on my press fleet. It's chaos because Car of the Year is coming. I'm the vice chairman of one of the groups that choose the Car of the Year for Ireland, so it's very hard to fit them all in and try and get all that stuff done as well at the same time. I haven't tested new Micra yet. Your nose is kind of weird. Your name is kind of weird. S said half the supercars in Ireland are owned by Conor McGregor. I'd say Conor McGregor gets given things. That's just ridiculous. Go out there and spend some money, you know, big man. True story. Before Conor McGregor was famous, I offered to interview him, and he never answered. And I ended up interviewing a mate of his who is now nearly as famous as Conor McGregor. But anyway, I offered to interview Conor McGregor before he was even famous. Now there's no time for anybody now. Any of you in a small premium hybrids, it's about to see Lexus 200H. I don't really. Hybrids are a weird one. If you're going hybrid, I tend to point people towards Toyota. They're very good. I've been doing it a long time. Kia Niro is very good as well. Lexus are very expensive and they don't feel it inside. So I don't know. I'd stick with Toyota wherever I could. No, do not disconnect DPF. We will all choke. Well, yeah, maybe. Do you know there's plenty of cars out there that run with no DPF? Plenty of them. Would love to go back to a petrol as I'm doing less miles now, thinking of Honda CRZ 1.5 hybrid to drive. Any fun? They are actually fun, yeah. Honda, mate, that was a good old car. I don't know why they stopped doing that car. Why did they stop doing that car? It was weird looking, but a nice car. That was actually when I first started, in 2010 or 2011 or something. I drove one of them. Yeah, they were nice, lovely. The CRZ 1.5 hybrid was grand. Have you ever driven a Lotus Elise? I had. I have, yeah. It's like driving in a plastic bucket. It's the best I can say. Shite. Drives well, but it's rubbish on the inside. God, it's terrible bloody car to say that. I know you probably see all the reviews in the UK channels going, Lotus is the greatest car ever. They've got a vested interest. Same as Top Gear reviewing a Jaguar. Same as them talking about Range Rovers. Brilliant, the best car in the world. You know what? Every Land Rover Discovery out there breaks down. All the Land Rover, what's that original Defender, that thing, good God, on a bike, them yours break down like nothing else. If you want to see how badly them now break down, have a look at a channel called Ben Brown. He's a UK chap. He's a travel guy. He's not a car guy. He's currently trying to cross Africa in a a Land Rover Defender. It just broke down in every video. But anyway, besides that, Lotus Elise, nice car to drive. They drive like a house fly. But the interior is rubbish and the seats are weird and the seating position is even weird. Here in Switzerland, I see about 5 Teslas a day. Love them here. That's true. Yeah, when I was over there, I saw hundreds of them over there, and I saw them, loads of them as well in Norway, tons of them in Sweden. Kind of weird. Tesla's rule sound like Fight Club. Yeah, kind of. Don't ask questions about numbers is the main one. Hey, dude, saw you in the movie. What movie? So I got a question. Did you have parties? No, or did you? I don't understand what any of that's about, Carlos. That makes no sense. But anyway, bye. Looking for a high MPG city car, low mileage use, maybe plug-in hybrid, but few around. Small Lexus 200H is about to be dropped. So you keep going back to the Lexus 200H. I think we've been through Lexus 200H, haven't we? We don't like Lexus 200H. Oh no, Lexus 200H. No, CRH. The other one. Yeah, I'm trying to remember every car now, and my tiny little mind is not paying attention at the moment. You want a high MPG city car. If you're going for a high MPG city car, then you're looking for a proper hybrid, so Prius, or you could go electric if you're not going to be doing big high mileage, but you want high miles per gallon. That's different. If you know someone is more muscular than me, oh my Jesus, here comes the weirdos today. 2014-2015 E300 hybrid would be a good choice. Good options in the UK half VRT of diesel equivalent. Good choice, that actually. I always forget Mercedes do a hybrid thing. Weird that. It must be something to do with their marketing. Anyway, Mercedes, yes, do a hybrid version. It's quite nice, not a bad car. Not a bad car. I really do like the E-Class anyway. Have you ever viewed the Land Rover Disco? They haven't had a Land Rover Discovery on the fleet here in years. I don't know why. They don't tend to put them on too often. I don't remember reviewing one, but I have reviewed a couple of the Range Rovers. All right, yeah. Bob, idiot alert. I need to... Oh my God. What? Nuke said, right. Come back to me on that one, Brian. I'm flying through all the questions here. Paul, hello, Bob. EV looking strong at the future. Leather-free interiors must be pushed for too. Thinking of Tesla Model X, vegan, and the other manufacturers seem to be following your thoughts, please. Yes, I am a big fan of reducing the weight in the car. For instance, that Alfa Romeo I have outside the door has leather interior. In the sun today, you melt. Even with the air conditioning on full blast, you still get a sweaty back and a sweaty ass off it, right? It's a horrible thing. And that's not just the Alfa Romeo, it's just all cars. A lot of car companies now are looking at the, I know vegan might not be a great word for it, but they're looking for, you know, not destroying animals to make cars out there, right? So they're looking at going back towards cloth interiors or half, you know, velour and Alcantara and Alcantara or whatever you call it. And all these kind of things are out there as well. I totally approve of that. I find that cloth seats are far more comfortable than leather seats, especially over long range. If you put the ventilated seats that are in the cloth seats that are in, there's a few brands of cars that there have them, but if you put the ventilated seats in, they're gorgeous. You can drive for hundreds of miles in them. If you go look at truck drivers, look at truck driver seats. They're all cloth, none of them are leather. Some of the truck drivers put on sheepskin on top of them as well, or sheep fur over top of them that stops all the sweat. Really good idea. But I would certainly approve of anything who's out as a vegan option for seats. Leather interiors, done, finished. We should be using synthetic leather at this stage anyway, not to do with getting anything else from animals. Is it true that you get a better car from Northern Ireland? Absolutely not. No, you don't. You get basically the same car from Northern Ireland. You might get a couple of extra options. You might get 19-inch wheels where we get 18-inch wheels as standard. You might get a digital sat-nav thing over here. You might have to pay extra for that. You might get an alarm. You might pay. It won't be much different. I mean, it's not going to be any different to drive, suspension and engine. They're all going to be the same. Colin, I don't really understand what you're talking about. You seem to be asking coherent questions a minute ago. Now you seem to be gone off the range. Yes, Nuke S said Bob Clown. I don't understand. Sorry, I was saying you need to get rid of the guy called S said here. All right, sorry. Okay, I didn't see where S said went. I don't see him now. Yeah, gone. Must have banned him already. Model X air seats. Yes, I've seen that. Model X though is €120,000 here, so not many people are going to buy that. Hey Bob, what about the Golf GTE? Really nice car. Anything to do with a Golf is always good. The GTE or the Golf E or whatever one you want to call it, it's a really nice car, electric car. The hybrid one, I think there's a hybrid one coming, isn't there? There's also GTE of the Passat as well. Didn't drive that because they couldn't get a chance to get at it. Unfortunately, not a lot of people on the press fleet these days. It's quite hard to get hold of cars. Have you ever seen Stavros Channel? He's another Irish car blogger. No, I have not. There's loads of them starting up the last while. Floyd Flanagan, loads of them, and loads of them that are very heavily funded from their own group, and some that are buying views by making ads out of their reviews, which is very strange. A good way of finding out if someone's got genuine channel growth, I'm using myself as an example here, is I've never spent money on buying views or buying subscribers. I've never done it like that. But usually what you do is if you look at like likes and dislikes on a channel, you can see how many likes they've got, how many likes and dislikes, and look at comments and interactions. And are people asking questions? Is there actual comments? Not like, I love you, baby. That's spam, right? Or click my link or give me more subscribers. That's all spam crap. But people are actually asking questions about what to see in the video. Then you know that there's actual real people looking at videos, rather than this idea of just, you know, thousands of views means it gets promoted by YouTube, which is what some other channels are doing. What's happening with Ford in Ireland regarding EVs? They don't seem to be making any effort to break into the sector. I've asked them at my dealership, but they only seem to get a blank expression from Brendan. Brendan, you could say that Ford and Volkswagen and a couple of other brands as well have been caught with their pants around their ankles when it comes to hybrids and electrics and things. The market is tiny, and that's probably why Ford aren't paying attention to it. They're in this very, very heavily in the diesel and petrol market. And Ford themselves, in the global sense, are well behind the ball when it comes to hybrid and stuff. The best advice I can give to anybody is use your money wisely. So if you're going to a dealership and you go, I want a Ford and I want a hybrid, they don't have one, go away. Don't settle for something else. because that, commercially speaking, that's how you get your way. That's what my parents taught me, you know, send your money elsewhere and you'll find that everybody changes their mind instantly and they'll bring in electric cars. If you demand it, they'll bring it. If there's a market there for it, it'll happen. It's probably not going to happen the next couple of years, but it is starting to grow in a big way in Ireland. Are there any optional extras worth it when you resell metallic paint, alloys, aircon, Bluetooth, panorama, sunroofs? Not really, Harold. So depreciation is done on the base model. So if a car is 20 grand and it's sold brand new, you can probably account for about 40% of that gone just because it was sold in the first place. In 3 years' time, it's worth 40% less. So 40% of whatever start out. An option usually is a couple of £100. It's negligible that that's actually going to be worth anything more. The only time it's worth more is when somebody wants the car because of the option, right? So if you buy a car with 19-inch alloys and a guy in 3 years' time goes, God, I love them 19-inch alloys, it's worth more. That's the only time it's ever worth more to have an option. Other than that, for pure comfort is what you want. If you want a bit of comfort in the car, spend a bit of money on the options. Is there electric Focus on sale in the UK? I don't know, Colin, to be honest with you. Opinions on a new Peugeot 308? I'm divided on that one. They did a good job on launching it. I haven't driven the newest new Peugeot 308, a refreshed version of it. I continually have this struggle with Peugeot and cabin interior space. So place to put your phone, place to put your bottle of water, to live with it, to live in the car, to actually bring kids to school and have lunch boxes and things. The Peugeot 3008 is the best one of those for interior cabin storage. The rest of them, particularly the 508, has always suffered with cabin storage issues. It just has. They make good cars, but they just seem to have problems with interior storage. Don't forget to click that like button there, which is, go on, click it. And click the subscribe button if you've never been here before. That was for Sean Smith. Opel will have the Bolt soon. Opel had, what did they call it? I was on the international launch of an Opel car, which was the one with the generator in it. And when it got to Ireland, it was going to be like 100 grand or 50 grand or something to buy. It was ridiculous money. And it never sold a jittery jot in the country. And they seem to bring it back now as something else. In terms of cost, is buying a used car from NI UK a good option, or does it work out more or less the same as buying here at VRT? Right, Derek, that is a really good question, Derek. There's two ways of looking at this, right? So, in certain cases, you will find a cheaper model of the car in the UK. But if you take it as an average, it'll probably be about the same price to buy, particularly with the exchange rate at the moment, right? It'll be round about the same price. You might get more options in it if it's from the UK. So the UK market tend to spend a little bit more, even the fleet market. So even companies who buy maybe 50, 60 cars at a time, they might put leather interior in 50 of them, whereas we put leather interior in none of them. So you might find that you get the car over there with a leather interior, special dash, air conditioning, 19-inch wheels, leather steering wheel, or something will be on it that's not on the Irish model. If that's your thing, then the process of actually importing the car is relatively straightforward. Relatively, it's not that hard. You land in Ireland, you drive to the NCT centre. They make sure it's the same car that you said it was. They tell you the figure it's going to be, the thing. Then you pay the VRT, and you're off. And you're in an Irish car, and that's the end of it. But there can be drawbacks. It can be a little bit more difficult than that. I'd love to say it's that straightforward all the time. It should be. This is Europe. We should be able to buy a car anywhere in Europe and bring it back here, no charge. But as always, the Irish protectionist market is very, very carefully protected itself, and it can be a little bit more difficult than that. But realistically, you're not really going to get a massive difference. It's not going to be 5 or 6 grand of a difference between the two. It's going to be hundreds of euros between the two. But if you're really after a particular car, or if it's rare here in Ireland, it can be worth going over there to get it. Bob, Carolyn Kinsella Toyota recently closed here beside me in Churchtown after decades in business. Do you or anyone know what happened or where they were gone? Have the other branches, of course? I don't know. No, I don't really, to be honest with you, Brian, I don't really get involved with dealerships all that much. I do from time to time. I do visit dealerships, I visit open days and do stuff like that, but I don't really get involved in the opening and closing of dealerships as they go. We usually, as press, only hear about new dealerships opening. We don't really hear about old dealerships, so I can't answer as to why Carling Kids would go out of business or would close that dealership. Chances are they probably moved at the moment. No electric Focus for sale in Europe, not great reviews in the US, poor sales. Okay, there is an electric Focus sold in the US and UK. Sold in tiny numbers though. They also sell a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid Mondeo in the UK. Volt or Ampere? Ampere is the yoke I drove. That was it. It's called the Opel Ampere. You're correct. Bob, car batteries. Is it okay to buy a small brand for say €55, or is it worth spending a lot more on Bosch or other top brand? No, buy the cheap one really. So you used to be able to maintain car batteries. You used to be able to open and put deionized water in them, and you could get them. So how would you explain car batteries? Right, so you got a plate inside a car battery. You put water in it, called deionized water. Electric current flows through and creates ions that bounce off the plates that generate electricity. So eventually what happens is the ions all stick to the plates and the plates become unoperational. The car battery won't hold its charge. So when you go to turn the key in the car, it doesn't start. So it tries and it won't go any further. Not enough electricity coming through, so it'll be lower voltage. Older car batteries last a very short space of time. Modern car batteries, for instance, my car batteries in my car has been in my car for the last 7 years. I remember changing it. I changed it as well. They're not hard to change. They're really easy. Don't spend a big lot of money on an electric car battery. The only thing you want to be worried about is that if you drive a very modern car, it can cause heartache when the battery fails. You may need a reset. You might have to go to the dealership to do it. But if it's an older car, nah, stick in the cheapest thing you can find. Be fine. Once it matches the voltage, just make sure it's the right one and the right shape for the tray as well. It has to be locked down. Totally agree with the interior space issue. Just check out the glove box. Yeah, that's the problem. That is the biggest problem with Peugeot, is interior space. It always has been. Any word on VW bringing out a Golf FEV, not that GTE spec, price of normal Golf. All that will come. Volkswagen currently are paying out billions in the US, and they're fighting court cases in Europe about their problems with diesel. And so investment level has gone down, and they're not investing in brand new cars all the time as much as they were. They will come back. They will continue to make money all that they possibly can, and they will bring out, I'm sure they'll bring out a FEV version, probably planned. The next thing they're bringing out right now, I think, is the Up GTI, which will probably be an Up electric. Be a perfect car for electric car. Don't know why they didn't do it. UK buyers often buy the bigger engine, the higher spec, so I would say, whereas UK would be 1.4 on sale. That's pretty much it. That's what you'll find most of the time if you're going to import a UK car to here. You'll find that the UK lads have gone for the middle spec, where we'd go for the basic spec or whatever, and you might get a deal that way. But it's pretty rare to get a big deal these days from the UK. They see you coming. Right amperage for the battery for your car, they're usually all 12 volt. Correct, car batteries are all 12 volt. Truck batteries are 24 volt. So double the voltage, but don't put a truck battery in your car, it doesn't work. Nothing's going to happen, it just won't work. But if you're buying a battery for a car, definitely buy the right voltage, the right output, the right size, that it's the right shape, and the terminal's in the right place. It'd be an awful pain in the hole bringing the battery home, slapping it into the car, and you find the cables won't reach the terminals, and then you've got a problem because it's the wrong shape, although it might be the right battery. My 11-year-old Note battery is old looking Nissan branded one. Is it possible that the original at 11? Yeah, it is actually possible. Batteries have a lifespan of, we'll say, 5 to 7 years. But if it's minded and if it's a petrol engine, so petrol engines are an awful lot easier to start than diesel engines. So if it's a petrol engine, it can last a lot longer than a diesel engine battery. Because diesel engine, think of a diesel on a cold, wet, horrible frosty morning some morning, and you know, takes forever to get things going. But petrol engines tend to just start because it's an explosion. All it needs is a little bit of electricity to create the explosion inside the engine, and away she goes. Paul says that he would also say to buy a new car battery from a reputable source. Don't buy a second-hand car battery, although you can refurbish your old batteries. You used to be able to do it, and now they might do sealed units these days, but years ago you could actually take the plates out of the battery, you could put deionized water in the battery, you could do all sorts of things to make an old battery new again, because it was quite hard to make batteries. It was very expensive to make batteries, but now of course they don't want you messing around with batteries anymore, so you just get it done. My 2004 GT changed the battery last year, and it was the original battery that was in there. So yeah, it is possible. Batteries can last a hell of a long time. You'd be surprised how long they last if it's in a petrol engine particularly. The smaller the petrol engine, the smaller the battery tends to be. But all the battery really does is start the cars, number one, and then when the car is turned off, runs the interior lights and things. That's all. Well, a shop called Battery World in Kimmage has a battery for €55. It seems to be reputable. If it's called Battery World, it must be reputable. It's all it seems to do. I'm sure it'll be fine. A battery's a battery. Once you put it in the car and it starts, every battery comes with a 1 year warranty, without a doubt. It comes with a 1 year warranty. So it shouldn't be any problem. The only problem will be if it browns out. So browning out is something that happens when you turn on your lights and right. So electric is very good. Let's see if I can explain electric to you. All good batteries. So if you turn the key in the car and it's not starting, right? If you turn the key off and go away and come back in 15 minutes, there should be more charge than it was a few minutes ago. A good battery will recover. A bad battery will never recover. So you put the two charge terminals on and the battery tries to start up and nothing happens. I got sent a battery charger terminal thing. I don't know where it is now, but it was around there somewhere. I got sent a yoke that charges batteries. It's like a jump start thing that's like that size, tiny thing. Who makes the best diesel engines? Audi used to be the leaders. Lots of dirty Audis on the roads. Good to hear things about Mazda, Honda, BMW. They're all kind of the same. Mazda make a really good 2.2 litre diesel, which is a very, very nice engine, but it's not very economical. Not as economical as other ones. Let's see. Volkswagen's 2 litre diesel was always good. Skoda's 2 litre diesel is the same engine, was always good. BMW do very clean diesel engines, I have to say. They do a good one. My 12-year-old Mark V Fiesta had its original factory battery until about 6 months ago when I changed it. The Fiesta has lots of modern cars with smart charge extended life, correct? You can do trickle charge. If the car's going to lie up for a few months, you have to be careful of your battery then. You can do a trickle charge on it, make it last even longer. Sorry for spamming your thread. How would you become a member of the press or early access to launching of cars? Thanks, Sean Smith. Sean, if you want to become a motoring journalist, which is I think what you're talking about, or to become someone who reviews cars like me, you just start doing it. So the problem is it's a chicken and egg situation. People don't tend to get cars until they have an audience, but they can't get the audience until they get the cars. So it's kind of a chicken and egg scenario. You kind of have to find your voice. The most important part is that you're giving an opinion, that you're not some sort of a marketing retweeter, like I see a lot of channels are out there like that, or a lot of websites that are like that as well, where you literally find almost word for word a press release written up there on the screen going, this car is brilliant and fabulous, the most exotic car I've ever. And car companies write these things for you. I get press releases all the time that are literally written to be copied and pasted, and they literally say that the car is very good. So the big problem is trying to get hold of the cars. So, you know, you got to get on the press rotation, you got to get press releases, you got to start writing, you got to start doing the thing. You got to start thinking of it as a job. It's my job. So that's it. It's my job. Loads of places want me to work for free. Loads of places want other people to work for free. Loads of people employed in this industry to do one job, review cars as well for free. And it does me out of a job all the time, constantly, which is kind of annoying. But if you really want to get, if you really want to be testing cars, you need an audience to begin with. That's the only way you're going to get it. Any tips on leaving a car in the airport car park for holidays? If it's a modern car, Harold, you should have no problem leaving a car for 2 weeks just sitting there without a bother. It shouldn't be a problem. And when you come back, it'll be perfectly fine. As long as you don't leave, you know, electrical stuff on inside the car while you're away. If you're going for, say, a month or 2 months or 3 months, the battery should be disconnected. And certainly people, and I know this for sure because I've seen cars up there do it, Quick Park in Dublin Airport do a service that minds cars long term as well. They'll look after your battery for the stuff. So it shouldn't be a problem for 2 weeks easy while you're on holidays. But we could see who has the oldest working battery. Yeah, we could, definitely. My battery's 7 or 8 years old, something like that. Harold, park at the Clayton Hotel, half the price. There you go. Clayton Hotel is much cheaper. I find Quick Park very good now, but that's just me. I have a special deal there as well because I use it so often. Hey Harold, tip for leaving your car at car park, lock it. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Places, like I said, Quick Park, or now short term is a different story. Short term at Dublin Airport is, if you're going to park there, that's very open to anyone walking around the place. So is some of the red car parks and things out around the back. Is very open out there. But I highly recommend Quick Park out there because the guys have big fences. There's always someone on the premises. They're there 24 hours a day. There's always someone there to do, which is a really good place to go. It's a bit hard to park in at times because there's lots of rocky. I wish the tarmac, the bloody place, would be good. For the crack, do a review of your Seat. We'll let you away with it if it's good, not hoovered out. Have a good one. Yeah, I do. That is on the way. When I get a chance, just so many new cars I'm marking at the moment, I have to get through them all. Are the manufacturer's long service intervals worth it in the long run? Long service intervals? I don't know. I think servicing is often done too early anyway. I think servicing can just be done, you know, if you were to do a service once a year on a car, once it's a full service once a year, you should be okay on anything. Free bus transfers 24 hours a day is in one of those hotels, Clayton Hotel. Hi Bob, Toyota RAV4 all-wheel drive or Ford Kuga, which is the best? I'd go for Kuga on that one, funny enough. The RAV4 is pretty good. I do like it, but I like the new Kuga a little bit better than the older one. The four-wheel drive system from Ford is brilliant. They've got a very good four-wheel drive system on their car, so you should have no problem with that. RAV4 is a nice car and probably will end up in the long run being a little bit more reliable, but I still would say the Ford Kuga would be one out of that too. Floyd disagrees with me there and says RAV4 is better, so there you go. Ask Floyd, maybe he has inside information that I don't have. I've never heard of any problems. No, I wouldn't have heard of any problems in airport parking either. Although there is cases where things have gone wrong in the airport, obviously. I do park in the airport a lot. Actually, there's weeks where the car is parked in the airport for me when I come back after being away. Right. I have to go and fly my drone. No, I don't. I have to go and cook some dinner will be the first thing. That's the very first thing off the top of the mark. But thank you very much for watching. You're very, very good for dropping in. Make sure you click the subscribe button if this is your very first time here. And if it's not, click that like button. If you want to keep this channel and support it to be absolutely free, then make sure you head over to patreon.com or patreon.com/thenextgear and give as much or as little as you possibly can there. If you want to do just once off and never repeat it again, you can go to PayPal and go for Bob Flav at thenextgear.com. We will have another Sunday service next week, hopefully from Kirkstown, if I can get some sort of a reception up there. I think it's in the north, though. Funny enough, could be a bit of a problem. But if not, I will be at the Terranure show in 2 weeks' time. I think it's in 2 weeks' time. So Terranure show is definitely worth going. You can come and meet me at it. We're going to do a live Sunday service in there. I'd love to have a big crowd of lads standing behind me. It would be a good crack for the Sunday service to have everyone standing behind us for that. So that would be either, is that next Sunday, George, or is that the Sunday after? I don't know which one it is. But the Terranure show would be definitely worth to go. 2nd of July there from George Falls. Definitely have a look at that. I can't remember the winner's name from last week, but I have another set of tickets to give away this week. All you have to do is email me to be entered into a competition for a family pass to the Terranure show on the 2nd of July. Email me, bobflav at thenextgear.com, and I'll choose another winner. Until the next time, I will see you on the far side.